Everyone. This is Teresa with Jeremiah Dreams, and I am so glad to be here with you today. I'm glad that you're hopping in here and enjoying this video as well. We are working, this is part 3 of working on a vintage tractor piece, and it's been a lot of fun so far, but we've got quite a ways to go. So I'm going to go ahead and turn you down to my surface and we're going to get started. Hang on tight because let me get this fixed for you so that you can see everything that's going on. Bear with me. And there we go. This is what we've done so far. Just to recap, we have a barn scene here in the background with a little bit of landscape. Now, just in case you're wondering, I have taped off my edges with some frog tape. That's kind of the tape that I prefer. Just to give me a nice crisp edge whenever everything is completed. And we're going to fill in with some more wildflowers. But today we are going to focus on our tractor. So this is the perfect time for you to join in on the conversation. There's my friend Sherry. How are you? Thank you for being here. I am so glad you're here, girl. Tell me how you are. Tell me what's going on with you. I want to get to know you guys, and I just welcome the conversation. So please hop on in here and say hey. Let me know where you're watching from. And if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, I would love for you to give me a click and subscribe. That would be amazing. Okay, so we're going to focus on this tractor today. And I'm going to begin now in a tractor, in this vintage tractor that I'm working on. There's a lot of kind of blue grays and black and reds and things like that. So I am going to use just some regular craft paint. Let me get a clean palette here. I was finishing a piece last night and it still has some residue on it. So we're just going to use some Anita's acrylic. You can use any brand. I have quite a few different brands, but this particular brand is the Anita's brand. I'm doing good, Miss Sherry. I'm doing so good. I'm off today. I didn't have to work today. So I was able to come live with you in the middle of the day, which is a little different from me. Typically, I come live in the mornings. Let me grab a little bit of blue, and because I am going to blend the gray and the blue together. This is also an Anita's brand. It's Morning Blue is the color. I'm going to get a little bit of this on my palette. We're going to need some red, and I will probably use this True Red, also an Anita's color. Just get a little bit of that on here, and we may just kind of stop right there for now, just to kind of begin to get everything based in. Now, before I go much further, I do want to blend some of the gray and blue together. I don't want true gray and I don't want true blue. I want somewhere in this vicinity of tones, more of a gray blue color. So gray is a darker color than blue, so it's taking less of the gray, and we're just blending in that blue till we kind of get that tone. It's going to be really, really great. Okay, so I'm just going to start laying in some of the foundation for my tractor, kind of coming along the top part of the what I'm going to call the hood. And we're just going to kind of angle down, and I am using a flat brush. This is a size 5, and we're using the very end. And we're just basing in some of the particulars of our tractor. Now, on these older tractors, you can see a lot of the engine parts and stuff. So this hood area really only covers like the top and the front, okay? And then we're going to have kind of a curve here. Now I'm probably going to need a second coat. I'm just going to lay this in like so. You probably have to fill in a little bit of background right through here. Let's just dry this a little. You thought you missed me? No, ma'am. I am right here. You have me. Just giving this a quick dry. It's always better to put in thin layers than to put in some really thick. Hold on a second. I got a little crummy stuff right there on the, maybe it was some splatters from where I poured my paint. We can fix that. It's no big deal. No big deal. That's the thing. With paint, it's just paint. If you have a mistake or if you're not happy with it, you just paint right over it. In fact, episode 1 of this series, of this project, I started one direction. I was completely unhappy with it. And in episode 2, I painted right over it and we just kind of took a fresh approach. And sometimes that's just what you've got to do. But it is just paint, and you can paint right over, you can correct. The nice thing about acrylic paint also is it's water-based, and you can almost get it to a watercolor-like consistency just by thinning it down with water. And I've done that quite often. I do that a lot when I'm blending. I'm just kind of touching up a few little spots there. And then we're going to lay in some foundation. There's Brock. Hello, sweet friend. How are you? We are working on the tractor park today. Let me give this a dry. And then we're going to start laying in some red for the various areas of our tractor. And I'm going to mainly focus on this section at this time, okay? All right. So I am using a true red color. And we're just going to come right through here and begin to lay in a foundation. And we're going to be darkening this up to go with some grays and some black within the body of this. This is strictly a foundation. It's coming through a little pink, this red. So we may have to mix a little black with it sooner than later to get that deeper tone. Sometimes you just have to play around with the paints till you get to where you want to be. I use a lot of the Master's Touch brand paints, and I may even have to revert to that because that is really, for it to be a true red, it's really coming out pink. Let me just go ahead and switch to my Master's Touch True Red. Permanent red, excuse me. I still have, checking my stash here. I think I did finally use all of the other. This is the Master's Touch that I love to use quite often in permanent red. Can you paint over with any paint? Usually when I'm trying to paint over and correct things, I will use a chalk paint like Waverly chalk paints because of the coverage that it gives in fewer layers. So I wouldn't say any paint. You can probably use Master's Touch because it's a much more intense type of paint. See how that's already making a difference right here, and it gives really good coverage. But usually my go-to is the chalk paints. The Waverly chalk paints is my preference. I don't know what it is about the intensity of their colors, but that always seems to do the trick for me. All right, let me go ahead and grab some black. I'm going to mix a little black in here with this. Get that little crumb out of the way. Now, black is a very intense color. So we're just going to mix a tiny bit of black with our Master's Touch red. And this is more of a craft black, craft paint black in the Anita's. We're going to darken this up. I'm going to offload it. It doesn't take much black at all. Because as we move up into the motor area of the tractor, it is darker. And we're going to get even darker. Okay. Just kind of shoring up my lines here. Thinking about all the things. Hey there, Vicki. How are you, sweet friend? I'm actually going to come up here with pure black right up under this hood. And I'm just going to kind of pull this pigment down. Again, this is still just craft paint that I'm using, except for the red. I did switch over to the Master's Touch brand tubed, more professional grade. And I'm just kind of blending out so we have that depth, going for depth. I'm going to grab a little more of the blend of the red and black and kind of just blend all this together. And this is just foundational work. Okay. Now I need to go ahead and let's see here. Think about this just a minute. I'm going to go ahead and put in some of the fender work because it's very much the same color as the hood of the tractor. So we're doing more of a blue-gray. And to do the fender, we're going to think about our angles. So we're going to kind of have it flat, and then we're going to be circular, and it's going to disappear behind the wheel. So flat here, and then kind of circular, and then twist, and it's going to kind of disappear behind this wheel. And so I'm just kind of bringing it all around. And then on this other side, we're going to see a little more of the fender, and we're going to kind of lay it in like so. I'm going to bring it down a little bit more. Kind of like this. Okay. Let me clean this paint off. Katie, hello, my sweet friend. One of my besties right there. Showing up to support me. Each one of you guys, thank you all for being here. You guys just are amazing. And if y'all are watching this on replay, I'd love to see where you're watching from. Please drop a little comment and say hashtag replay and let me know where you're watching from. I'm always fascinated to see where everyone's from. We're just putting in a little more foundation red through here. And we're going to have lots of nice details for this tractor. Y'all, I feel very accomplished today. Today I'm off from work, mainly because I have to work Saturday. So today's kind of my Saturday. And I finished my granddaughter's quilt. I feel so accomplished. I'll be posting about that. And I'm super excited. Okay, I'm going to pick up some red and we're going to do what would be the center of this wheel. And we're going to build from there. And the center of this wheel, I believe, is going to be a good place. And we're going to build from there. We're going to put in some blacks and grays and just really kind of make this round out. Katie's from Michigan. She sure is, up in the Detroit area. I have been to visit Katie and we had an amazing time. She's one of my besties. I'm just putting in this tire. We're going to gray it up too. So I'm just kind of putting in some foundation. And keep it circular. Let me grab some gray. We're going to kind of lighten it up near the top. It's going to blend right with that black. And we're going to need some more of our hood to kind of come down and cover some of that. We don't want it to be completely separate. Kind of the fender area is what we're looking for. And I'm going to even have it extend out a little more. Can't wait to see it. I can't wait to show y'all. I've got to get some pictures. I imagine we'll be taking some good pictures this evening, especially when I present it to my sweet little 3-year-old granddaughter. This quilt has been through it. I lost it due to moving so much. when I moved from Kentucky to Huntsville, Alabama, and finally found it, and then couldn't find it again. It's just been an ordeal. And so when I found it, I pulled it out, and I got my big sewing machine and put it in the dining room, and I said, there is nothing else happening till I get this quilt finished. Goodness, it's been a journey. Okay, let me see how I'm doing on my angles. I may want to adjust a little bit. Let me get a little more gray going. I may want to kind of adjust this angle just a smidge, just so it has that appearance of the wraparound. So right where I envision that corner in that fender to be, I'm curving once again to be more of a wraparound, and I'm just gently blending as I go. I'm kind of squaring it up on this other side. I'm kind of doing what would be the appearance of a wraparound over there. Okay. I probably will also be incorporating some white in here. Let's continue on with some black. We're going to put in this other front tire. Keeping everything nice and round. And we'll put in sort of like a wheel well. Okay, we're going to have some brackets and stuff and things of that nature. What do y'all think so far? Is it looking like a tractor? I can only hope. Okay, I'm going to grab a detail brush because I want to put in some more of the red, like the struts and stuff. And we're going to kind of put that in here at the bottom. Actually, I want to use some mixed with black. So hold up. Let me get this red. I want it to be darker because it's certainly darker underneath there, more shadowy. So I'm just pulling together some red and black. Offloaded quite a bit, and we're just going to kind of connect things. Now, I'm just going to say this may not be 1000% like a real tractor, but this is my rendition. How about that? A little disclaimer there. We need to have some of this going through here. There's a lot of detail to these tractors. We've got some roundness through here. We're just kind of laying in some foundation tones, just trying to get an idea of the shapes. We've got lots of things happening all up under this area. A lot of internal workings. I don't even know, y'all. I'm not a mechanic. I just kind of paint what I see. You know? Thank you, Sherry. Okay. Let me see what I want to do next. We're going to work on this front part for just a little minute. I need to grab some white, and I'm going to use my professional grade titanium white. We're going to lay in some details in the front here before we get too far along, because everything kind of plays off of each other. Everything kind of connects and helps things make sense. So I have actually got I call it a micro brush. These are actually brushes that you use to do acrylic nails. And I've found that these are amazing for putting in some detail. And they are teeny little bristles. They don't hold a lot of paint, so you have to reload quite often. But I've been so happy with the results. It's incredible how much detail I can get with these brushes that are really for nails. So we're working on the grill a little bit. Okay. And then we're going to put a little bit of white highlight on the top of this fender. And I'm going to kind of blend it out. I'm just going to grab some gray. Would use this round brush and just kind of blend. It just kind of helps clean up as well. All right. Let's see. I probably need to pull in some black. Oh, hold on a second. I forgot a little section of white I need to be sure and do. Pull that on down. And then let's start adding in some black for the depth of this grill. And I am using this nail art brush. I'm calling it my micro brush. And I'm going to lay in a lot of lines for this grill. I don't know if y'all could hear, my little dog is just snoozing away over here, and he's snoring. He is. He's my buddy. Actually, I'm going to add a little wider white area. I'm going to use my detail brush. Okay, I am going to blend, I'll show you, some of my white with my blue. because we need some highlight on top of this hood. Probably started with a little too much blue. We're just going to go with it. So you see it's a much lighter tone than the blue or the gray. We're going to use this for some highlights on top of the hood. And that's also going to add to the features of our tractor. We can even pick up a little bit of blue, kind of blend in there so it's not so white. He's a cutie. He's a little mess. He has enjoyed this day of me not having to work and pay attention to him. I'm going to blend some of this blue-gray right here. So painting is really very much a layering process to get the results you're looking for. And you just have to be patient with it and just work it. And it's really fascinating to me, the different effects that you can get. Okay, I think what I'd like to do is I'm going to pick up with my micro brush a little bit of black. I'm going to add in a very thin line for depth. And then right along the bottom of this white area, I'm going to do the same. It's going to begin to help some of these features to stand out, some of the detail. Okay, let that sit for just a minute. I go in and add a few more details over here in our grill. To help deepen this, really make it appear to have that depth. So I'm outlining the framework of this grill. All right, let's kind of reinforce our color for these, the mesh, I guess it might even be, for the grill. This is the depth of it. And then we're going to come back and bring in the lighter tones. So one of the other things I use for cleaning my brushes is Murphy's oil soap, just in a little jar, and just kind of swish my brush around in there and then just wipe it clean. I have found that Murphy's oil soap is so good to just break up that paint that collects. All right, I'm going to pick up some of this blue and white mixture, and we're going to add in between the black. We're going to just have to layer this until we get the look we're going for. Now these micro brushes can be a little bit of a challenge because they don't hold a lot of paint, or the paint kind of collects. It can go both ways. And that's kind of what's happening to me right here. So we're going to go with it. We're not going to fight it. We're going to go with it, let it do its thing, and then we'll come back and we'll fix whatever is not laying in the way we want. It has to do with a lot of different factors, with how the paint is drying on my palette. There's just a lot of different things that happen that cause this, and I've just learned not to stress about it, not to fight it. Is that right, Katie? You've never been on a tractor, Sherry. I have. I have driven a tractor. I grew up in rural Western Kentucky, and absolutely I've driven a tractor. It was a lot of fun. Yes, I did. Let's see here. Where I'm from, children, even back in the day, would learn to drive farm equipment to help the family. Get my bristles going the right way. So I need to clean my brush. I've kind of got a clump going on in the middle of my bristles. You just have to clean often with these micro brushes. I love the effects, but they are a little tricky. Get a little water just to thin down things a little bit, and that'll probably help too. There we go. We're getting there. You've been on a four-wheeler and a motorcycle. I have too. I've been on a mini bike and a motorcycle. We used to own a motorcycle back when I was married. We actually traveled from Nashville to, when we lived in Nashville, to Gatlinburg, Tennessee on a motorcycle, a Yamaha. And yes, we used to play on three-wheelers and four-wheelers all the time. As kids, we had this game that we made up with the three-wheelers, because my cousin had a mini three-wheeler, and we would actually play hide and seek, and we had corn and all that growing on our property, and we had rules about the hide and seek with the three-wheeler. You couldn't get off. Whoever was on the three-wheeler. You couldn't get off, and we would hide everywhere, and if we got spotted, then that was like tagging. We were found. It was a lot of fun. Those were fun days. I'm just correcting some of this that I'm not satisfied with how it painted out. It just takes patience. Okay. So we may make our wheels a little bigger in the front as I look at this. Just making corrections along the way. See where the paint takes you. I do want to fix this a little. Okay. So you were asking about, can you use anything to cover up? I'm not happy with these front wheels, so let me show you what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to pull out my Snow White Waverly chalk paint, and we are going to cover up these wheels just with this white chalk paint, and then we'll redo them to be more what I have in mind. They're a little small. I'm going to use a flat brush. I'm not going to use a large flat brush. So this is a really good demonstration on how to fix things. And I have to do this. I mean, I'm not perfect, but I want these to be different. But look how this chalk paint, look at the color blocker that it provides. By going right over that. Really in one coat. Isn't that neat? And that kind of gives us the opportunity to make this be more in line with what we want. Just kind of getting things neat. I'm going to change this one up too, so I'm just kind of fixing it. Okay. Get this cleaned up. Get that paint put away. Isn't that neat, Sherry? Problem solved. Gives us a new beginning for making that more like we want it to be. Okay, I'm going to put in the seat and the steering wheel. Kind of let this rest. We'll come back to this. We'll add more detail to this area here. But for right now, I'm going to go ahead and add in the seat. I'm going to make it black, the seat and the steering wheel. That's what ours was growing up. Got a lot of water on my brush. Hold on just a second. Get that cleaned off. Okay. So our tractor had a seat that was kind of curved. It wasn't very big. Something kind of like that. Wasn't super fancy. Very simple. We'll put in some details that will help our mind see the curvature in this. And keeping in mind that wheel well, and it also kind of had like these spring supports that was kind of underneath. So I'm not getting incredibly detailed with that, but I'm kind of giving that indication. Then there was a area that kind of dipped down, and we would have the gear shaft and all that kind of really down in the floor. Something like that right there. That's right. There's hope for you. Sherry. Yes, that's right, Katie. Oh, too funny. Okay, so now we're going to make the steering wheel, and this is going to be maybe, it may feel a little overwhelming, but it's really just an oval. We're doing it kind of light, just using what's left over on our brush. And Kind of just putting in a little detail, trying to keep it simple. And just a few little spokes going on in that steering wheel. Nothing super duper. Now I'm going to kind of shore up my black on the outside, the main part of the steering wheel. Okay. I'm going to just kind of leave that right there like that. All right. Let's look at some of these workings inside this part of the engine area. Some of the details that will make a big difference in our project. And we can't get super, super detailed because I'm just not that detail oriented about this. I don't want all the inner workings of it to be the focus of this, but I don't want to neglect them. So there's parts that are going to be grays and blacks. There's parts that's going to be red. There are piping looking things. Because I'm not a mechanic, I don't know what they are. We got depth in here that's indicating other areas of equipment or engine parts. So we're just kind of painting in some depth. I'm going to bring in a little more depth up here in the top. Kind of building that up. We put some in earlier. But as it dries, things tend to change, and you just have to keep building till you get to where you want it to be. Yes, Vicki, that's what I'm going for. That's what my dad has, an old Ford tractor. So I'm kind of working on what we call negative space. Just kind of building it up. This is very dark up under here. Now I'm going to bring in, I'm going to mix some of my gray with my red. Hold on just a second. I'm just using what I have on my palette and just getting a different tone right here of my red just by blending some gray. It's even different than whenever you blend black with it, so just gives you various hues of the red. Always offload and twirl. Try to get as much of a point as I can. And we're going to just kind of pull in some various indications of stuff. Again, I'm not a mechanic, but we want to give some indications of some things going on with all this stuff in here. And it may be I have to kind of do this in sections of, we'll do so much and then we'll have to kind of let that sit, and then we'll come back and get a little more. There's some things that are dark that have like a gleam in them, like a little bit of shiny area. Some things with a little lighter gray. Something like that. Then we've got some areas that may look very tube-like and circular. A lot of negative space indications, and that means when we talk about negative space, it's just the area that's around something. Just kind of building up all these areas. Sometimes it feels like all the details are overwhelming. And when that happens, I really have to teach my brain to slow down and just do one little thing, just one little thing that leads to all the bigger things. And just kind of alternating between all the different tones and colors. And that's what your dad and your husband had? Yes, for sure. Yep, that's what my dad had. I'm pretty sure he still has his old Ford tractor. Then we got, let's see, I'm going to go ahead and mix some more red and black together. And we're going to kind of put this area in. It's more circular, more like a cylinder of some kind. I'm going to make this up here a little darker. Trying to be kind of light with it. And I'm going to grab a little bit of white. I'm going to kind of try to give these springs a little reflection like. And then I'm going to bring in some more white. I remember the seat on my dad's tractor was kind of shiny just from wear, you know. I'll blend that out and I'm going to bring in some black. Let's bring in a little more white. Go across the seat. There we go. Let's add just a little bit of black to it. Just to blend everything in. Something like that right there. Okay. I want to come over here to the front of the tractor. I'm going to blend in. I'm going to blend together some black with my blue. Kind of be heavy on the black. And create what would be kind of like a logo. I'm going to do it as an oval. Kind of trying to make it look metallic. Kind of like so. We need a couple of little vents. Get my brush clean here. Hold on just a second. Hang on, I'm just going to grab some black. Kind of like that right there. We do have the need for some little tiny lines that kind of lend to the impression of how things kind of fold open. So I'm just putting in a very thin with my micro brush. Line. Probably need to do more this way. Let's add a little depth right through here. Now you guys, I do offer paint classes in a private group for only $12.95 a month. And if you'd like information about that, just put a comment here that just says workshop. Put workshop in the comments, and I'll be glad to get you that information. Okay. A little more depth right through here. All right. Now let's see what else we can do. I need a little. You don't think so, Sherry? Oh, good. I'm glad it's a pleasurable experience. I know a lot of people have been hesitant to come hang out with me on YouTube. They're used to seeing me on Facebook. And I'm glad that you're finding this is not a bad transition. I'm still on Facebook, but we are making some changes and coming more on YouTube. Just adding in some depth. So this just takes a little patience. Just know that you've got to layer. Just kind of working on some things that are kind of helping to make some of these things pop a little bit and stand out. Work on my little circular whatever this is. It's hard not to want to get in a hurry when working on something like this. It's hard not to want to just rush through the details, but the details are what makes it. And it's, when you start to feel a little overwhelmed about all the things, that's when you just got to step back and just reevaluate. But this is kind of where we are at this point. I'm trying to decide. I do think I want to go ahead before we go. It's hard to believe we've been on here a whole hour. Before we go, I am going to lay in a foundation, or maybe I just need to wait. We may just wait. I will be back here. Today's Wednesday, Friday. I'll be back here on Friday morning at 6:45 a.m. And we'll continue our work on the vintage tractor. Let me show y'all real quick. This is what we do in my workshop. Let me just show y'all real quick. We just finished this. I don't want to lay it right on top of this wet paint. We just finished this, and I may have to raise y'all up a smidge because it's a little bigger where y'all can see the whole thing. But we just finished this piece in my workshop. Took it step by step, and this is called Poppies in Play. It did go by fast, didn't it, Sherry? I call this piece Poppies in Play. I'm in love with it. The 3 children represent my 3 grandchildren, but I did teach this in my workshop. I would love for you to come be a part of our little group over there. Also, before we go, I do have a subscription where every month I will send to you in the mail some of the prints of my original artwork. This was for the month of May in honor of Mother's Day. Everybody received, you get in the subscription, you get a matted 5x7 print. You get 2 greeting cards of the same artwork. You receive a beautiful pen with which you can write inside your cards, and a couple of stickers of the artwork as well. And I also write devotionals. And so I give you my devotional for the month and the scripture that goes with it, all mounted on beautiful paper for keeping, and you place it in your Bible as a bookmarker or something if you want. But let me turn you guys back up here. Hold on just a moment. Let me get everything set. And just say thank you. Thank you for being with me. If you're interested in my workshop, just put workshop in the comments. If you're interested in my monthly subscription, just put subscription in the comments, and I'll be glad to get you more information. But thank you all for being with me today. I look forward to joining you again on Friday morning, and we're going to continue our vintage tractor piece. Y'all have a great rest of your day, and I'll be talking to you soon. Bye, friends.